Walton joining us here. The big man is here. We were out shooting hoops earlier, and I thought Bill...
Another chair for a preschool
Yeah,
children.
I know. I'm sorry about that. Sorry. We needed to get Phil Jackson's chair for you.
Really? No, I usually bring my own, but I've been on the road for so long. Good to see you, Dan.
Great to see you, as always,
And Todd and all the guys. And what's the guy who got sunburned yesterday? What's his name?
Seaton.
Seaton? I get sunburned in the rain. So just cake it on. And I do want to say thanks to Continental, because I ride Continentals on my bike.
Oh, nice.
Continental gator skins, 28 centimeters in the back, the hard shell.
Yeah.
25 centimeters in the front. Best tire in the world. Just so smooth, so comfortable, so safe.
Thank you.
What more could you ask for in life? Thank you, Continental. Thank you, Dan Patrick.
He's the Hall of Famer, two-time NBA champ, two-time NCAA champ, two-time most outstanding player, three-time National College Player of the Year.
I was lucky, Dan. You don't need to know that. Look, I had a great coach, and I had incredible teammates. And
No.
And that was the
Bill,
story of my entire career.
You were great.
I was lucky.
You were great. You understood the
I
game
just
of
saw
basketball.
greatness on the court right there. Dan Patrick, I had no idea. You got Todd, you didn't tell me. I've been chasing you around, Todd, for how long? 30 years now?
Yeah, at least.
Yes, and you never told me that Dan had game.
He pops.
Staggering. Yeah. Why aren't you in the NBA? And you're so fit,
Because
too.
I wouldn't be able to do this. And look, those guys over there, they have mouths to feed. And if I didn't do this, I mean, they'd be homeless there.
So I thought I was coming to a radio show, and I pull up in the car today, and I thought I was at a Dead show. I mean, all the fans out here early, some of them sleeping in the park, and then this big stage and people playing basketball. I mean, this is very, very cool. Congratulations. Big time. Way to go,
Thank
Dan.
you. But you walk onto the court, and you don't even say hello. And I'm thinking, boy, Bill is really casual here without saying hello. And
I
then,
didn't know it was you.
Bill thought I was somebody working on the set just shooting hoops.
I thought he had just done the lighting and the rigging there, and you were just down waiting for the show to start.
Yeah, you thought.
I didn't know that this was the show.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to put on a show before the show.
You did.
And you rebounded for me. How cool is that? Because
I love to rebound.
Yes, but
And that's how I based my game, was on rebounding. And I loved every part of basketball. I loved the celebration. My game changed so much when I was 14 because I tore up my knee, had the first of 37 orthopedic operations at that point. But everything changed, and I just focused on rebounding and defense. Bill Russell was my favorite player ever, on and off the court.
But
and
how would you play today in your prime? How would you?
I'm 63 years old. I haven't been able to play basketball in 30 years.
No, but in
I've
your
had
prime.
37 operations.
But in your prime,
we'd be fine.
In this NBA, but it's not a big man's
It
NBA.
would be. It would be if they had better big men. The game always changes based on who the best players are. And right now, Steph Curry's the best player. And I love Steph. And I love the Warriors. I'm a warrior of the Golden State. And the way they play, team, fast break, skill, offense, everything, passing. And then, that's the dream come true. And this guy, Steph, Klay Thompson, Sean Livingston, Draymond Green, Andrew Bogut. I mean, the vision for a team, Dan, is always the key. And that was Jerry West. It had potential, it had talent, but when Jerry came in and said, okay, now this is what it can be. Because you look at all the great teams in basketball, they all have a visionary guy who can see the future, and that is Jerry West. And I had the privilege when I was in college, on the Lakers, when we were at the same time there at UCLA, it was Wilt, Elgin, Jerry, Gale, Pat Riley, Keith Erickson, Bill Sharman, Casey Jones, Chick Hearn, Jack Ken Cook, and they treated us like we were on the Lakers. They would come to our games. We would go to their games. We'd go to their practices. They'd come to our practices. Coach Wooden, Bill Sharman, Casey Jones, just like this. It was, it's a radio show. They were very close. And it was just so fantastically fun, but that's all we knew. We just thought that's the way everybody's life was.
Did you play against Wilt?
Volleyball, beach volleyball. Never played basketball against Wilt. Wilt was the kindest person. Wilt was like magic. Wilt was so friendly, so outgoing, so kind. Wilt never said a bad thing about anybody. Big game would be coming up, new star coming up. oh, this guy's really good. This guy's really showing a lot of promise. And really an interesting and nice fellow. I'm really looking forward to the chance to play against this new guy. And then Wilt would go out and get 70 on him. Just like, okay, yeah, I'm Wilt.
But I don't think he liked the competition of Kareem. When Kareem came in, that was the changing of the
guard.
guard.
They were friends when Wilt.
They were
friends
growing up.
When Kareem was very young.
Yeah.
And then it kind of went the other way because, and that's fine. Because when I played against all these guys, we hated them. We hated each other. And, Kareem was like the greatest player I ever played against by far. And here was a guy who, everybody's trying to get to be the best. And you're not friends with these guys. It's a different culture now. It's a different league. And the league, I joined 42 years ago, and it's so much better now than it ever was. And that's because of David Stern, who brought the business acumen to a game. And he has built this incredible empire. And since the mid-'80s, when these six forces and factors came together, in no particular order: David Stern, most important man in the history of basketball; Phil Knight, most important man in the history of all sport; Jerry Buss, greatest owner ever; Michael Jordan; David Falk, Michael's agent; and then ESPN. The ability to deliver that message, and how that, from that point, everything has changed. And what we have, everything is sponsored, everything is huge, everything is the best ever. And when you have a champion in any sport today, the next day after the championship, there's always the article, "This is the greatest team ever."
I want to ask you.
And as we have the championship tonight, North Carolina, they have more players. The challenge for Villanova is to have the best player. Because in basketball, when you have the best player, you've got the greatest chance. That is always the differentiator, and that is why Steph Curry is the leader of the band and the best player in basketball and on the best team in basketball.
If you'd like to join us, giving away tickets to tonight's title game.
Yeah, but somebody's got to make a shot.
Well, that's a Steph Curry jumper.
That's a difficult shot. When I watch Steph play, and I love him, when he's at three-quarter court, 75 feet from the basket, I'm yelling at the TV, "Shoot it! Shoot it now! Don't pass it! Just get it up there!" Oh, my God. And because every time he does miss, Draymond Green gets the rebound, and they have another chance.
And then Klay Thompson
makes it. And then Sean Livingston makes it. And then Leandro Barbosa, who I thought was dead. And then he comes back, and he makes it. And all these guys, they just keep coming.
He's Bill Walton in Houston, providing pregame, halftime, postgame analysis for Westwood One's Final Four coverage, NCAA Radio Network. Also, check out Bill's New York Times best-selling book, Back from the Dead, which we'll get to coming up in a moment.
Who would have ever thought? Little Billy.
That you wrote a book and you came back from the dead?
I wrote the whole thing, did the whole audio book, did all the artwork with my great friend Mike Dubois from the Grateful Dead world, Woodstock. So he's got all this special artwork in there. We're making up some fantastic posters. I'll send you one.
I love it.
And we're just having a great time with it. And it was tough. It was hard. Simon & Schuster, man. I mean, a great partner, the best. King of the mountain in the publishing world. They said no a lot. I thought that my parents and Coach Wooden were strict. Oh, my gosh. These guys, that's all they said was no.
We'll get to the book in a moment.
Okay.
The poll question, McLevin, for Bill Walton is what?
If you had to bet a week's pay, who would win in a series? The Bulls would sweep the Warriors, the Bulls would just beat the Warriors, or the Warriors would beat the Bulls?
Well, since I'm a volunteer, it's there's nothing really at stake. And so I don't get involved in the ranking and the rating of a historical different teams. I just enjoy them all. It's like going to a Grateful Dead concert. You know, everybody says, well, remember back in 1975 at Cornell or wherever it was. I mean, that was yesterday. I live in the moment. I try to learn from yesterday, and I dream about the future. So,
but isn't it fun, though, just to speculate?
Everybody who's any good thinks they're the best. And anybody who's any good thinks that their team is going to win every single game you play. And are they coming for you or for me?
For you. For you.
I'll tell you. Oh, my gosh.
Is there something you want to tell me about, Bill?
Oh, my God.
Those days at UCLA.
We had so much fun. We did everything. We were right in the mix. College. I loved college.
But you guys were a rock star. I mean,
oh, yeah. No,
UCLA.
But that was all we knew because it was that way before we got there. It was that way after we left. Every game sold out, every game on television. Dick Enberg was our local broadcaster. And we had all the best players, and we had the best coach, we had the best fans. We had the greatest athletic director, J.D. Morgan, in the history of NCAA sports. We had the chancellor, Charles Young, who was there for 29 years. We had Ducky Drake, who spent his life. He came there in 1923 and died on campus in 1988. 65 years he was there every day. And these people, Dan, they gave up their lives so that our dreams could come true. It was pretty much like this show right here. I mean, you have all these people coming here trying to get tickets to the show. None of them can make a shot. You got the dancing girls with the cheerleaders. And that was our world. 8 miles away was the Forum with Wilton, Jerry, and Elgin and the Lakers. And in the finals every year. Wilt was there for 5 years. They were in the finals 4 of the years. UCLA, Lakers sent the 33-game winning streak. We had an 88-game winning streak at the time. And it was just perfect. Every day, front page of the paper, every day, all over the news. But it was just our lives. And Coach Wooden, who was the ultimate teacher, there was never a moment where we thought he was in it for himself. There was never a moment where he would say, no, guys, I can't come today because I got something else I've got to do. I got to go give a speech. I have to make a commercial. Never. He was always there on campus. His door was always open. And the one thing that always stood out to us was that he never started practice with these words: what do you guys want to do today? And he was just so focused on making us better. And he was totally concerned with who we were becoming as young adults.
Could he have coached in the NBA?
He didn't want to. He loved college. He loved teaching. He could have done. He was like Kareem, Wilt, and Shaq in that he could have done anything that he wanted to do. And he had so many different interests. And I was mad, sad, and disappointed when he retired at 65 in 1975 after the 10th championship in 12 years. Should have been 12 and 12. But because I thought that he was leaving so much on the table. I did not realize that his life was just beginning. Although his wife died 10 years later, and then he spent 25 years without his beloved Nell. And he loved that lady, and oh boy, she did not like me. Can you imagine? Can you imagine what she used to say to him when I got arrested, when I was, against Nixon and all this stuff in Vietnam, and oh my gosh, and she would look at me and just scowl.
Wow.
But he was always so kind. He was always so generous, and he was incredibly patient. Well, we got a freeway going by here. We got a war zone out here in downtown Houston. My God.
I told these guys the story of when we were at NBA Entertainment.
Right.
And I gave you a ride in my Jetta. And we were listening.
No wonder I have a bad spine.
I know. Bill is in the front seat. And you're
with my knees up like this.
Yeah, you're up like that. And then Bill's like.
My head is just like.
Oh, I know. It was. You want to know what kind of tunes?
Oh, I keep forgetting it's a radio show.
Well, it's a TV show too.
It's a TV show too.
Yeah. See the cameras right there?
No, those are cameras.
Yeah,
I got
cameras
that. This is a microphone.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
So I was telling these guys, you want to know what kind of tunes I had? And I said I had Dylan.
Yeah, great.
And
I remember this ride.
So
I think you were playing the Chimes of Freedom, because I love the Chimes of Freedom. But I love everything Bob Dylan, and he's coming back on tour this summer, the West Coast. He'll be in Eugene, Berkeley, Santa Barbara, San Diego, 2 nights at Humphreys, and then closing it out on the Shrine Auditorium before heading for Red Rocks, and we'll be at all of them.
You weren't a very good singer back then, Bill.
I'm an excellent singer and a tremendous dancer.
Just give him a sample, a little Dylan, as you were. So I'm in the car in the Jetta, and
far between sundown's finish and midnight's broken toll, we ducked inside the doorway. Thunder crashing, yes. Tolling for the warriors, tolling for the luckless, the abandoned and forsake, tolling for the outcast, burning constantly at stake, striking for the gentle, striking for the kind, striking for the guardians and protectors of the mind, and for every uptight, hung-up person in this whole wide universe. We gaze upon those chimes of freedom flashing. Here we go.
Well done. Well done. Well done.
But if you want to hear a song, listen to Thea Gilmore sing Bob Dylan's "I'll Remember You." It'll just bring the tears to your eyes. Oh my gosh! It's the Chimes of Freedom Amnesty International release that he donated all the money to Amnesty International, and it was absolutely incredible. Thea Gilmore, but all the performances spectacular. But Thea Gilmore just tug at your heartstrings, Dan.
The book is Back from the Dead. And he's Bill Walton. He'll be part of the coverage tonight. Who you? You don't pick, right?
I don't have a stake, so I always root for the underdog. North Carolina's the favorite.
Yeah.
They've got more. They've got big guys. They got little guys. They've got everything. But Villanova, the way they played, what I like about both teams, they're not gimmick teams. This is substance. I'm not a gimmick guy. I'm not one of these guys who likes the double team trapping and all kinds of strategy. Give me players. Players make plays. Plays don't make players. The job of the coach, and this was where Wooden was at his best. Wooden, Lenny, Ramsey, Red Auerbach, all the great coaches that I played for. Denny Crum, who I was with last night at the Hall of Fame dinner. And their job is to make you a great player. And that's what coaches do. And then build the team around a great player. And then when the game starts, I remember Wooden. This guy Wooden. After he told us how to put our shoes and socks on, right, and went through that whole thing, we're out there running around up and down the court playing, and he stopped practice because he never stopped practice. But at the very beginning, he stopped the practice, and he looked at everybody and he said, we're UCLA. We're the fast break team. We're the full court press. We are offense. We are relentless attack on a constant basis. And he said, in the open court, anybody can do anything you want. Nobody will ever say a word to you. Just attack and go to the basket, pull up and shoot jumpers, because our game is speed, quickness, and offense. And then he turned deadly serious, and he looked at everybody. He said, but if the other team is back defensively and dug in, and it's a setup play, everybody's holding their breath, and he goes, if Bill Walton and Jamal Wilkes don't get the ball every single time, the rest of you guys are coming out. and all the guys, Greg and Larry and Henry, their faces just dropped, And Jamal and I go, yeah, this is very nice. I can buy into this team concept.
It's always great to see you. Have fun tonight. The book is, and it's a New York Times best-selling book, Back from the Dead. He's Bill Walton.
I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I'm back from the dead.
You are.
I'm back to Dan Patrick. Who would have ever thought?
I'll pick you up in my Jetta after the show.
No more Jettas, man. Come on. I had my spine fused.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.